Okay. Trying to gather my thoughts. Sometimes justice is served in DFS. Last couple slates, and slates for the Sharks. Not tonight. Not tonight. Welcome, guys. My name is DK. We're breaking down the 8-game DFS slate in this video. Before we do, though, if you guys do not like tilts, recaps, I would fast forward 10 minutes. A lot to discuss. I'll say that about tonight's events, the events that occurred tonight. Okay. If this is your first time watching, I cover content for daily fantasy sports, NBA, NFL, and for player prop sites like PrizePicks, Underdog, and Parlay Play. The sponsor of the video, guys, is OddsJam. If you guys are not familiar with OddsJam, they have a ton of different tools. Right now, what you guys are looking at is the sportsbook screen, where it shows if you wanted to bet on the game, which book offers the best odds, also shows the average odds. They have a fancy optimizer for sites like PrizePicks and Underdog. They have plus EV stuff. So if you guys do want to give OddsJam a try, you can use the link down below or the code DKDFS for 25% off your first month. Okay, okie dokie. So let's see. Where should we start tonight? How about the obvious, right? You guys know where I'm going to start here. The San Antonio Spurs and Julian Champagnie. Okay. So, Julian Champagnie, 50+% owned, right? And we know the Spurs. We know Popovich. Champagnie, not even a part of the regular rotation. We have seen guys like this in years past get spot starts and barely play. You know, it's happened multiple times last year with a guy like Keita Bates-Diop for the Spurs. Was out of the rotation, then missed a couple guys. He got the spot start and played like 15 to 20 minutes. There's absolutely no security in minutes for Champagnie. But the field slams him at 50%. So we've had justice the last couple of slates with horrific chalk plays not getting there, right? Well, that was not tonight. And let's first, before we talk about the results, let's talk about the reasons why I did not want to play chalk Champagnie in tournaments. So what I just talked about of it's Popovich, not guaranteed to play big minutes at all. Champagnie, not a good point per minute guy playing with the starters. They could have gone so many different ways, and you had multiple guys on the same team at a fraction of the ownership that projected for similar minutes. Guys like Branham and Cedi Osman. Cedi actually a better point per minute guy than Champagnie. So what happens tonight? Well, Champagnie, in the regular competitive game, in the fourth quarter, had 3 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds. Right? I'm looking at that. Like, yeah, let's go, man. 3 points, 3 boards, 3 rebounds. Midway through the fourth, game's a blowout. There's no way the fish, slappies, droolers that played him at 50% get bailed, right? 3 points, 3 boards, 3 assists. Whew. Let's go. Played Branham over him. Gotta be outscoring Champagnie, right? Seven steals and blocks for way over-owned Champagnie for the fish. 7 steals and blocks. Not only that, also gets garbage time and smashes in garbage time. 7 steals and blocks. And I said this before lock. I said the result does not matter. And that's a very important thing in DFS. I talk about it almost every single day in these videos. We've gone over so many scenarios in the last week where it's worked out, where you get to the lower owned option. It's not going to work out every time, but I'm going to make plays like playing Branham, unowned Branham over 50% owned Schimpeni in tournaments. I'm going to make that play every day. It's not going to work out. And like tonight, it's going to tilt me beyond belief. 7 steals and blocks for Chalk Schimpeni. 7. Like, you can only laugh at that, right? 7 steals and blocks are one of the worst plays of the slate. I'm not going to win on a slate like that, right? I'm just not. Just flat out not going to win when some BS like that happens, right? So that was number 1. That put me on full tilt mode. So I'm thinking, okay, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. As a GBP player, I know I'm going to lose most nights. I've had, 3 straight really good nights, been very profitable. I'm thinking, okay, let me go on to the late slate, where the Warriors, I think, are going way overlooked. Klay Thompson, the main slate, projected for 1% ownership. So I'm thinking, okay, this is the edge, right? This is where I'm gonna make my money back. I push my chips all in and full stack the Golden State Warriors. Full stack the Warriors on the late slate. I'm thinking, yeah, the ownership is way too low. Really, the only guy getting a ton of ownership is Chris Paul. I slam Draymond. I slam Klay, right? I'm like, yes, let's go. The field is overlooking these guys. I just go heavy on the Golden State Warriors. I'm looking at the game, thinking, why? Been 2 minutes in the game and clock's not moving. What's going on? What's happening here, right? Go check Twitter. See a video. A literal brawl breaks out. A brawl. And it's like Oprah Winfrey. You get an ejection. You get an ejection. You get an ejection. Draymond and Klay low-owned, ejected in the first couple minutes. I mean, you cannot, and I mean cannot make it up. I have Klay. I have Draymond. Ejected. A brawl. A fight. There's punches being thrown. I literally watched the video, and Draymond has Rudy Gobert in a chokehold. Come on, man. He has him in a chokehold. I have McDaniels over rebounds as a prop. One of my tacos got great value. It gets removed. He gets ejected too. I mean, I've literally watched the video, and the first thing I see is Draymond just having Gobert in a chokehold. I literally see that, and it's like, all right, I'm going to go make my video now. It's over. My money is in the fire. I have players ejected. Giga over-owned Schimpeni, 7 steals and blocks. Sets a record for steals and blocks. I mean, like I said, sometimes there's justice served, and then sometimes there's tonight. So, no, I did not make money tonight. Okay, so that is the recap. Enough of the tilts. Let's talk about the 8-game slate now. Let's go over the odds in these games. Mavs and Wizards, 242.5 is the average over-under here. 5.5 point spread. You always got to factor in the blowout risk here with the Wizards. Oh, also, I took Luka Doncic over fantasy score. He's projected for like 60 fantasy score. His prop was at 53. I'm thinking, okay, this is great prop. I check in at his score at almost halftime. He has negative fantasy points. I take Luka over fantasy score. He has negative fantasy points at almost halftime. Negative for Luka Doncic. I mean, that was just the cherry on top. Well, the cherry on top really was the ejections, right? Because that's what I'm thinking, okay, I see an edge, I stack the Warriors in the late slate, and they get ejected. A brawl breaks out 2 minutes into the game. I can only laugh, really. Like, it's just like, you can't make it up, man. Bucks and Raptors, 225.5 over-under. It's a 4.5 point spread. Knicks and Hawks at 230.5 over-under. It's about a 1.5 point spread. Celtics and 76ers at 223.5 over-under. About a 2.5 point spread. The Bulls Magic game, 216 over-under. We just got news to right before I made the video that DeRozan is out for the Bulls. Timberwolves and Suns at 227.5 over-under. Suns 5.5 point favorites. Cavs, Blazers, about a 220 over-under, about a 10-point spread there. Obviously, some blowout risk. The Blazers are real bad. And then Kings and Lakers, 232.5 over-under. Lakers are 1 point favorites. All right, so let's talk about it. Dallas, Luka, 12-1. Great matchup. Obviously, in a nice bounce-back spot here after putting up negative fantasy points for me at halftime or close to halftime. No issue with him. Obviously, the ceiling's there. Kyrie, reasonable option as well. I always have a tough time getting these secondary plays because the rotation's so inconsistent. But if you want to take a shot in Hardaway for tournaments or Lively and hope the minutes are there, be my guest. Again, I don't feel good about it. It's an 8-game slate. Outside of the main guys, I'm probably just going to pass. Now for the Wizards, DeLon Wright's still out. You do have Gallinari back coming off rest. Now, I talked about it in the Patreon stream how the reason I like the Wizards was the ownership was too low for the chances of success last game, right? No, literally on a 4-game slate, who's the most 2%? Pools 2%, Tyus is 0.5%. So, sure, they troll all the time with the rotations, but again, daily fantasy sports is ownership versus chances of success game. And when the Wizards are going to be that low owned, that was the reason that I played Kuzma Pool. It worked out. It could have worked out in a much bigger way if, they did anything in the second half. But yeah, once again, I think all 5 of the starters are playable in tournaments. Kuzma, Poole, Denny, Tyus, and Gafford. Minutes are not secure. There's always blowout risk for this team. They have trolled in multiple games with minutes, but yeah, I mean, they're reasonable. We'll see what the ownership comes in on these main Wizards, but all 5 of the main guys I think are fine tournament plays. I think Koulibaly is going to be a pretty popular value. He's played very well. Now, I think last couple games have been a bit outlier performances from Koulibaly, but he is a guy that can stuff a stat sheet. He's cheap, so yeah, I think he's a pretty solid value play. I don't really think I can stomach anything else. Kispert or Gallinari, they'll be in the rotation, but yeah, I think we're probably going to be able to find better values. I just would rather play Koulibaly. I just think the ceiling's way higher. You're not going to see big minutes out of Gallo or Kispert or Shamet or anyone like that. Milwaukee and Toronto. So Giannis had to combo 11K. With Dame back, I think it's still a solid option. Obviously, a guy with a pretty high ceiling, but Dame back, definitely not a must. Dame himself, just too expensive for me right now. The floor is low with him. He does still have a ceiling, but I just don't know if I want to, if Dame's the guy I want to go to on this slate. The rest of the Bucks, Portis, Middleton, Lopez, all reasonable options. I think Portis should be my preferred option of that group. Payne's overpriced with Dame back. Connaughton did play a good chunk last game. He played 29 minutes. Now, I don't know if we can expect that again, but he does have nice eligibility, so I think he's a reasonable value play. For Toronto, this is a team I think you want to have some exposure to. OG is doubtful. Gary Trent's doubtful. So the 2 top guys, Scotty Barnes and Pascal Siakam, both look good. You saw 38 minutes last game for Scotty Barnes. Pascal Siakam also saw 38 minutes. I like the ceiling on both, right? They're going to play huge minutes. Dennis Schroeder was awful last game as chalk. I honestly got lucky with the fade. I faded Schroeder. He shot 1 of 12. Schroeder was a totally reasonable play. And again, I got bailed out with the fade. He was a good play last slate. Even at the ownership, he just shot 1 of 12 from the field. So Schroeder also should play big minutes. I think he's a solid option in the mid-range. Pirtle, he's right now splitting minutes for the Chua, so I kind of have a tough time clicking Pirtle. Again, him and Chua getting close to the full 48 combined. And then here we go. Okay, so OG and Gary Trent are doubtful. This one's going to come down to ownership for the value plays, right? Last slate, everyone clicked Otto and no one wanted anyone else. And I mentioned, okay, I like Boucher at no ownership. Well, Boucher blew Otto Porter out of the water. I said, okay, Flynn and Grady Dick are fine pivots. Grady Dick outscored him. I think Flynn outscored Otto Porter as well. So here's another situation, right? Here we go with the Raptors. With these value plays, ownership is going to determine a lot with what I do with these value plays. If the field is gravitating towards one guy, that's a guy I probably won't play. I'll say the guy I feel the best about personally is Boucher because he's the best point per minute guy, and he played 20 minutes last game. But again, Boucher, Porter, Flynn, Grady Dick, all in play. Can't get to McDaniel, so he'll put a couple minutes. Ownership is going to play a big part in what I do with the Raptors' value. All right, New York and Atlanta. RJ Barrett news is pretty important. He is questionable. If he misses, Josh Hart becomes probably one of the best plays in the slate. He played 43 minutes last game, so Josh Hart would look great. DiVincenzo has seen a minutes bump in the past. He did not last game. I think because, Hart played 43 minutes, but DiVincenzo usually does see more minutes when RJ Barrett is out. As far as Randall and Brunson go, I think Randall's a guy that's going to be relatively popular in a good matchup. Now, here's the thing. I think Randall's the more optimal play of the two, but I also think Randall's going to be way more popular than Brunson, and Brunson did play 39 minutes last game without RJ Barrett. So I like both the Knicks. I think Brunson's an interesting pivot off Randall. I think Randall will be relatively popular tomorrow. Again, if there's no Barrett, Hart really stands out. DiVincenzo probably sees a bit more run quickly. Shot 1 of 10, but he's a guy that, will chuck when he's out there. Should see mid-20s minutes. No issue with him. The rest of the Knicks, Mitchell Robinson, I hate clicking this guy, but he's in play for tournaments. It's just production's up and down. He's foul prone. Minutes kind of fluctuate on him. I don't really think I can get to anyone else. Now for Atlanta, and again, I got off to such a good start in the slate. I said, all right, this is what I said in the Patreon stream. I said I would have close to 100% DeJounte Murray, close to 100% Chris Paul, and close to 100% Bogdanovich. Well, Murray was over 2/3 of the field faded 8K DeJounte Murray tonight. I was shocked about that. So I was looking great, and then again, Shinpenny at gig over ownership, 7 steals and blocks to just send me to the late slate lobby. Late slate lobby, brawl breaks out. But Trae Young news is massive. If Trae Young does not play, DeJounte Murray is still underpriced. He should be a 9.5 to 10K player without Trae Young. We saw him on the Spurs be 10K plus when he kind of had the team to himself. So I still would like DeJounte at 9-1, even if there's no Trae. He's not as good of a play as he was tonight, but he'd still be a good option. And same with Bogdanovich. Bogdanovich, which should play mid-30s minutes, like him a good amount too. Not as good of a play as he was tonight, but both DeJounte and Bogdanovich will still be really good options on this slate. And then the rest of the wings, Johnson, Hunter, Bay, all look a little bit better. The price on Johnson's not great. Also, the minutes have not been amazing on him. I think Hunter, Bay, a bit easier to get to. You know what I'm going to say about Okongwu and Capella. They're splitting the center position. I'm not going to be able to get to anyone else. And if Trae Young is in, then it's like, I think Trae Young himself would probably be my preferred option on the Hawks. Let's talk about Boston and Philadelphia. So big news is Porzingis, right? If Porzingis does not play, you should get Al Horford in the starting lineup. Al Horford, probably going to have to play big minutes against Embiid if there's no Porzingis. So, I would like Horford. Obviously, there would be some foul risk. I think Kornet would play the backup 5, but the issue is Kornet is priced up to 4.6K, where it just doesn't make sense, in my opinion, to go there. And then I think all these other starters look a bit better if there's no Porzingis, because Horford is not the same usage player as Porzingis. So, Tatum looks a bit better, Brown looks a bit better, Holiday looks a bit better, Derek White look a bit better. They would all look better here if Porzingis is out. Peyton Pritchard minutes have been decent off the bench. He's a guy that usually benefits in a blowout. I think this game should stay competitive, so don't really know if it'll be necessary to get to a guy like Pritchard. You'll see Hauser in the rotation as well, but again, I don't know if it's necessary to go there. Talking about Philadelphia, Embiid has been playing really well of late. I have no issue clicking 11.6K Joel Embiid. He's playing big minutes, right? Doing everything for the team. Yeah, I think Embiid looks good. Maxey 9.5K, kind of had an off game tonight, but I still think he's playable at this price point. It's him and Embiid doing everything for this team. Now, there's no Oubre. Batum will keep an eye on his status. Tonight they started Covington. Philadelphia trolled Covington's minutes. Every site was projecting. I thought Covington would play mid to high 20s minutes. That's what basically every site had him projected for, and he played like 15 minutes. So that hurt. They just gave like everyone a little bit of run. Like they played Covington like 15 minutes. They played House a bit. They played Cajun Martin a bit. They played Marcus Morris a bit. So I'm not going to mess with it with those wings for Philadelphia. I will say Melton and Tobias Harris I think are solid options, right? They're going to play big minutes. Melton, probably my preferred option of the two, but I have no issue with the 6.6K Tobias Harris either. Pat Bev was a guy that did see a minutes bump, actually. He saw like mid-20s minutes. I don't know if we can expect that again, but he is sub 4K, so I wanted to mention that. Orlando and Chicago, this also tilts me, man. I had Suggs over 2.5 assists in my YouTube play. Bridges easily hit. Suggs gets injured in the third quarter, misses the whole third quarter, comes back in the fourth, has like 5 potential assists, and the teammates just can't make shots. Hooks me. So again, it's just a night full of pain, man. A night full of absolute pain for me. Carter Jr., I believe, will still be out. I don't think Fultz will be available. So Jalen Suggs, 5.8K. Him, Cole Anthony do benefit without Markelle Fultz. You're going to get Anthony Black most likely in the starting lineup. Black's been pretty bad, but he is cheap and has nice eligibility. And then as far as Paolo and Franz go, both reasonable spend ups. I think, factoring in salary, I would slightly prefer Paolo to Franz. The bigs, they're kind of just eating into each other with Goga and Mo Wagner. You might see a little bit of Jonathan Isaac at the 5. Kind of hard for me to prioritize any of those guys. But yeah, the guards I think look good. Suggs, Cole Anthony, I think would be my favorite options here in Orlando. For Chicago, we just got the news that DeMar DeRozan is out. It's not even an update yet on DraftKings. But with DeMar DeRozan out, that changes everything. Because my original breakdown for the Chicago team would have been press play. You know what I'm going to say, right? And last slate, the field gravitated towards DeRozan as the guy they wanted to play. And I told everyone, okay, the field's gravitated towards DeRozan. DeRozan's the guy I don't want to play in tournaments. I would just rather play lower owned LaVine and lower owned Vooch. LaVine and Vooch smashed. DeRozan was a massive bust. Now, it's not going to work out every time, right? But when you have guys that look similar and one's getting way more ownership than the other, you're going to be successful in the long term if you go to the lower owned option. That's why I try to identify spots like this all the time in these videos, and I talk about it a lot in the Patreon stream. And again, like tonight, it didn't work for me. I said, don't play Chalk Champagny. I think he's way overowned. I'd rather take a shot in the lower owned Spurs. It burned me. I don't regret the play whatsoever. It worked out the other night when I played Reddish over Giga Chalk Torian Prince. I played Reddish and Rui. It's not going to work out every time. But in the long run, factoring in ownership, you're going to be successful if you can identify two plays that are similar and one's getting way more ownership than the other. You go to the lower owned option. With DeRozan out, LaVine and Vooch stand out as two of the best plays in the slate, in my opinion. They get a pretty big bump. I really like Vooch. I really like LaVine. Kobe White looks a lot better. I think he's a really good play in the mid-range. I love the Bulls without DeRozan playing at home here. We'll keep an eye on the status. Caruso, if he misses, you should get significant minutes for Pat Williams and Torrey Craig. You're not going to be excited about either, but without DeRozan, these guys should see more run. They're good values. I would assume I think plays a bit more as well, assuming there's no Caruso. So there's just an absolute ton to like here from the Bulls. I think right now, by far, my favorite team to target on this slate. With DeRozan out, I love Chicago. And that's a little bit scary to say, but yeah, I absolutely love the Bulls tomorrow. Minnesota, Phoenix, well, we'll see about McDaniels. I think with the ejection tonight, I don't think he's going to get suspended from what I saw. I think Draymond could get suspended for, having Gobert in a chokehold. But yeah, McDaniels and Clay just kind of got in a little scuffle. Like, they shouldn't have got ejected. You don't eject McDaniels and Clay there. But I think he'll be available. Top end guys, Cat and Anthony Edwards, both solid options. On the road here against Phoenix with the Suns' big three should be available. Maybe a little bit of blowout rest. But yeah, I like Ant. I like Cat. Gobert, reasonable. Conley's reasonable. Like, all these other guys are kind of just like secondary plays. Conley, slow-mo, McDaniels, assuming he plays. My boy Naz Reid, always fine. The one thing I will say about Naz Reid is he benefits in a couple different scenarios. If Cat gets in foul trouble or if Gobert gets in foul trouble, right? Naz Reid is a guy that usually does benefit there. He's a good point per minute guy. So always an interesting play. Now for Phoenix, we're talking about Chicago being my favorite team to target on the slate. I think Phoenix is probably my least favorite team to target on the slate. You got the big three, most likely in for the first time this season. Booker, Beal, and KD. Everyone overpriced. I have a really hard time going to anyone. I guess if I had to play someone, it probably would be a 7.1K Beal, but I don't think I can get to anyone on the Suns. Nurkic, maybe, but again, they can always go small. They probably won't go small here against Minnesota, but Eubanks is a guy that they can close with. I don't know. I guess if I had to play someone in the Suns, I guess it would be a little bit Anderson Beal and a little bit Anderson my boy Nurkic, but I have a really hard time getting to anyone, to be honest. Final two games here. We got Cleveland and Portland. Cleveland's a team I really like too. No Darius Garland. LeVert, in my opinion, should start. I really like LeVert at 6'4". He's been playing well while playing with a healthy team. Now you got no Darius Garland. You got Mitchell becoming the primary playmaker. You get LeVert becoming the secondary playmaker. Yeah, I really like Mitchell. I really like LeVert. These two guards look great without Darius Garland in just a smash spot here against Portland. Evan Mobley is always a frustrating roster for me. It feels like he should be playing more. I don't know. He's playing low 30s minutes. I don't know. With this, I feel like he should be playing 38 minutes a game. He's young. Play him 38 minutes. Why are we playing him 30 minutes a game? I don't know. I know there's been some blowouts, but still. Play the guy a ton. What are you doing? Mobley is reasonable. I prefer the guards. Jared Allen is safe. We know what we're getting from him. High 20s minutes. He's still I think he's still on a limit. We'll keep an eye on the news. And then I like Max Strus. I was high in him for tournaments last night. He smashed at low ownership. I mean, he's probably going to play close to 40 minutes. We've seen what happens when Cleveland is shorthanded, right? They just play their main guys a ton. So really like Mitchell, really like LeVert, really like Strus. I think the bigs are solid options with Mobley and Allen. I don't really know if I can stomach anyone off the bench. Niang at 3.9K probably sees around 20 minutes. You're going to see some Dean Wade, but again, it's so painful to click Dean Wade's name in 2023. We had scenarios just a couple weeks ago where Cleveland was missing everyone. Dean Wade to play 35 minutes and go for like 10 fantasy points. It's just so painful. You're probably going to get Tristan Thompson playing a little bit of backup 5, but again, 2023, Tristan Thompson, no thank you. One of these guards probably plays a little bit, like Craig Porter or Imani Bates or Sam Merrill, but I'm not going to do that. Talk about Portland, so they're playing tonight currently, but assuming no one gets injured or anything, you should get big minutes for these main guys. Mays, Sharp, Grant, Ayton. I think all of them look pretty similar, all in the 7K range, so no real strong takes in the main Portland guys other than, I have interest in all 4. Morrow started last game. I want to see what he finishes with minutes-wise tonight. If he, for example, plays like over 30 minutes tonight, I would have a lot more interest in Kamara, the rookie. Again, there's no reason not to play him a ton, right? It's not like the Blazers have anything to play for this season. So Kamara's a guy that, again, I'm curious to see how many minutes he finishes with tonight. But yeah, I like him, especially if he plays over 30 minutes tonight. Thibault moved to the bench. No, thank you. Yeah, the bench is just so gross here. You're going to see Thibault. You're going to see Jamarie Bouye. Miami Heat Summer League legend. You're going to see Jabari Walker. You're going to see Duop Reith. It is such a gross bench rotation for Portland. And finally, Sacramento and the Lakers. Sabonis and Fox both look good, but yeah, Fox at 8.3K is just the guy that really stands out to me. Good matchup here. No limit. Played 36 minutes last game. I really like Fox at this price. He should be about a 9.9K player. I like Fox and I like Sabonis. I'm not scared of the Lakers defensively. Fox and Sabonis 2-man game. Sign me up in the late night hammer. I think they both look good. Kind of a tough time getting to anyone else. Murray, Monk, Herter, all a bit overpriced with Fox back. No thank you on Barnes. Davion Mitchell's out of the rotation now. They're playing Keon Ellis over him. Alex Len is out, so I will mention, if you need a punt play, McGee is over a fantasy point per minute player. He's going to back up Sabonis and play whatever Sabonis does not play. So if Sabonis plays 36 minutes, you're going to get 12 minutes from McGee. Sabonis plays 38 minutes, you're going to get 10 minutes from McGee. At the flatman price, he is someone that is usable on this slate, and if something happens to Sabonis, if he gets in foul trouble, McGee could smash. Finally, the Lakers is a back-to-back. Keep an eye on it. Maybe you get LeBron sitting here. We'll see. Obviously, he just came back from injury. Assuming everyone's healthy, there's nothing that really stands out. I think I prefer AD to LeBron at a similar price point. I think D'Lo's overpriced. Reeves and Rui are reasonable plays. Reddish and Prince should start and play around 30 minutes. Again, we'll see what they finish with tonight. But there's no standouts here for the Lakers. I think AD would be my preferred option. All right, guys. So that's going to do it for the video. An incredibly tilting night. Also, one other thing. Someone did mention of why I don't build out a lineup in these videos at the end of the video. And I'll say, right, I want people that watch these videos to become better DFS players. And me building out a lineup the night before does absolutely nothing to help. It's going to hurt you if I do that, right? If I build out a lineup right now, it's going to hurt you. I don't build lineups until like 30 minutes before lock, an hour before lock. That's when I start building my lineups because it's pointless to do it before that. Wait for all the news. A lot of guys in and out, right? I have an idea of what I'm going to do, but I don't even start building until close to lock. So, me building a lineup the night before in these videos would only hurt you because I know what's going to happen. A lot of the, newer DFS players are going to see the lineup that I build and they're going to play it or they're going to play something similar to that. And it's just dumb because trying to build out a lineup right now is pointless without knowing anything, more news, injuries, all that good stuff. It's just pointless. So, yeah, that's the reason that I don't do it. I saw that comment. It's going to hurt you as a DFS player if I do that. I want everyone that watches these videos to become better DFS players. I try to identify spots and show examples of, ownership, chances, all that good stuff, right? So, yeah, doing something like that, honestly, would only hurt you as a DFS player. All right, so thanks for putting up with my tilts. Again, it's an extremely painful night. Hopefully we can bounce back tomorrow and avoid, any brawls. But if you do enjoy, make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Let's try to aim for 100 likes on this video, and we'll see you guys all in the next one.